Does Avengers Endgame mean the Hulk can have sex now? An investigation. One of the greatest things about the Marvel Cinematic Universe is how well it blends comic book action with character development. The emotional journey. Take, for example, the Hulk. He's big. However, Avengers Endgame may have finally changed that and thereby completed one of the Hulk's quieter and hornier character arcs. See also. In 2008's The Incredible Hulk, Bruce Banner is 5 years past his initial transformation into the big guy and is hiding in Brazil, where he works at a soda factory and practices meditation to keep his heart rate low enough to avoid hulking out. Since the movie The Incredible Hulk is not one of Marvel's best movies, but it does spend a lot of time laying the groundwork for Bruce Banner as a tragic romantic figure. A flashback to when Bruce and Betty reunite later in the movie, he reveals to her that maintaining his low non-Hulk heart rate necessitates complete abstinence. Not like Betty does. See also. Betty Ross disappears after The Incredible Hulk, and Bruce does not return to the MCU until 2012's The Avengers, which finds Bruce hiding in India and still struggling to control the Hulk. It seems unlikely. Bruce and Natasha's ill-fated romance is not a highlight of Ultron, but there's still something sad about his quiet longing for a normal life. The Hulk may be in. There's a hitch here. After Ultron, this is all to say that the Hulk definitely had groupies on Sakaar, and if they were physically large enough he probably boned them. His chambers in the Thor Ragnarok also establishes that Bruce and the Hulk exist as separate entities sharing the same body, and that Bruce does not recall any events that happened while Hulk was in control. This dissonance can fast forward to Endgame, which presents Bruce and the Hulk in their final form, Banner Hulk, or Professor Hulk to go by his comic moniker. The body of the Hulk. Happy to clarify he can, After years of denying himself intimacy, the existence of Banner Hulk logically enables Bruce to fully engage in sexual activities once more. No longer must, and, yes, the sheer size of the laugh would make it difficult for Banner Hulk to participate in many common human sexual acts, but after a decade of celibacy, a genius like Bruce surely figured something out. He's clean. Jokes aside, Endgame wraps Bruce Banner's romance plot by killing off Natasha, for whom he clearly still carried a torch and will undoubtedly mourn, but what is surviving the apocalypse if not a chance to rediscover the beautiful things in life? There's a whole new world.
Raindrop, drop top, smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park, pot.